Hey everybody, this is Hobby, and you are watching the Inner Child Collective, where you and your inner child heal for the better. Welcome and hello. Today I am actually doing the Inner Child Archetype reading for Friday, September 18th, 2020. So this video is timeless. So whenever you watch it and you resonate with it, it's always going to be here. And for those who don't know, who I am. I'm a psychic, an intuitive medium, and author who uses divination and storytelling to help people overcome generational trauma. I'm also specializing in inner child therapy, and I specify, for one, the importance of dismantling intergenerational trauma and historical trauma, from a psychological perspective. I'm also the one to show you how to connect to your inner child and do it for the sake of healing and just pretty much connecting, to your purpose and connecting to, the reason why you are here enjoying this world. So, um, if you resonate with the message in any way, shape, or form, by all means, subscribe to the channel. You can also like and like the video, and yeah. So, and let people know that I'm here. Definitely let people know that I'm here. So, without further ado, let's get started. I'm already tapped in and ready to go. So let's go ahead and do this reading. Dear higher spirit, what message, what archetype represents the collective's inner child? What archetype represents? Oh, we have a couple of them. Wait, so I always go with the one. So right now we have the Queen and the Poet. So let's see what the spirit has to say. The Queen and the Poet here. So what I got here is for the Queen. Let's start with that first. Radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others. The shadow attributes are becoming arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling, and demanding. So what I'm getting for this card, as far as the Queen, what I'm getting, like, as far as like your femininity, I'm getting that. I'm definitely getting like protector energy from here. So what I'm getting is that a lot of us, regardless of your gender identity and regardless of your sex, and what I'm getting from this card is basically like a lot of us are very much regal in regards to like having dignity, having respect, having this love for the people as well as yourself to a certain extent. And what I'm getting is that when you were a child, it was very important for you to be heard. It was very important for you to be heard. It was very important for you to, for those who are resonating with this message, it was very important for you to have your words be said, right? And it was even more important for people to actually listen and hear what you are saying and not make assumptions about what you're saying or dismissing you altogether. And so when you have the tendency to, like, even when you were a child, you had the tendency to want to explore and gain knowledge and accumulate knowledge in order to help other people with it. And that comes later on. But right now you are just like this inquisitive individual, this inquisitive child, who just wants to be seen and heard. You have a lot of questions about life. A lot of us, who have gone through abusive situations in our household, have a tendency to be shut down and be told that their words and their thoughts have no value whatsoever. And so for those who, have had that message and planted it in their mind in any way, shape, or form, y'all also have the tendency to be adults who would rather speak their mind. At least this is what I'm getting, this time around. Even though there are people, who come from those households that like shut down, there are a lot of people who make up for lost time by being very loud, very protective with their words, using their information to protect people, using their information to navigate this world, and to let people know very loudly that their words hold value. Their words hold value. Their knowledge holds value. The information they receive, accumulate, and share with people is for the greater good. And so there's a lot of us who are very much protectors, and do everything we can to get the word out, whatever that looks like. The downside of that is that you have a tendency to believe that your word, um, to be honest with you, like you feel like you are to know everything, and therefore you think you know everything. So there is a little bit of arrogance that comes with that adulthood selfie, and that actually comes from that arrogance. And that need to be right all the time comes from that overcompensation and that loss in time, all that time lost of not being able to speak your speech, basically. And so you're now saying everything with your whole chest. Basically, what I'm saying is that for for the translation of that is that you are letting everyone know very loudly that you are right. You are going to argue. I'm getting some Capricorn energy from this, like, and I fall into that category. Sometimes there's a lot of overcompensation, especially when it comes to intelligence and especially when it comes to communication. Communication for the queen and those who fall for this, fall within this archetype, have the tendency to want to be seen and heard, and be seen and heard the majority of the time, regardless of whether or not the information is harmful or wrong. It's just with this group is about being right. Okay, it's about being right, and a lot of people who fall into this, I'm getting stereotype, because once, like I said before in another video, once you embody that and act, embody that archetype and act that archetype, um, consistently and over time, it does become a stereotype, a personal stereotype. And what I'm getting is that folks who have fallen into the queen stereotype have a tendency to want to be seen and heard, regardless of what they're saying, regardless of what they're doing, and your hearts are in the right place. When this comes from people who in childhood have been told that their words do not matter, their words hold no opinion, or their opinion holds no water, and that no one is going to listen to them because what they are saying is not important. I'm getting that this happened maybe like around 9 or 10 years of age for a lot of people. Even though like there are people who are much younger who have received that message. I am getting like grade school, to where, like, no matter what you said, no matter what you did, like everything you said was like called into question. So you may have been around people who did not trust you or did not trust your word for whatever reason, and there's a lot of resentment around that as a result, a lot of resentment as a result, and you really do not like it as an adult. You do not like it when people don't listen to you, because it takes you back to those times in your childhood where your words held no water, because at that time you had no power. There's a reason why this is so important. The queen is so important to pretty much look at, right? Because what ends up happening is that when we don't look at those things, um, we start using our words as a weapon against people who really do care about us. And so we are to be aware of what we're saying and what we're doing and why. Okay, so the thing is with the queen, what I'm getting from this is that when it comes to information, please be aware that you are not to be right all the time. You're not going to be right all the time, but you don't have to debate all the time. Okay, what I'm getting is that you are not. It's okay for you to not prove yourself and prove your worth through your words and your intellect and the information you give. And this is really the time for you to really sit back and do some reflection work on why, especially if you're the type of person who's always combative with their words or with their information, or felt like you are to like correct someone when you don't agree with what they're saying, especially um, when it's just personal opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I guess the question and what I'm getting is every fight worth it? Are you to put, do you have to have a dog in every fight? Right? So that's the question I'm getting from this. Are you to have a dog in every fight? Okay, that's what I'm getting for this. Also, the poet. Let's move on to the poet. The light attribute is expresses soul insight in symbiotic. in symbolic language. Okay, light attribute expresses soul insights in symbolic language. Shadow attribute turn a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. Okay, this is for people who use a lot of symbolism and a lot of writing to express their spirituality or to express themselves. I'm getting that as the queen, the reason why this came up and communication came up because in addition to being a queen, you're also the poet. So you've learned to use your words eloquently. You're really good with words. You're more likely a writer, more likely a public speaker, someone who basically communicates effectively through words. You know what to say, you know what to write, you know what to what words and what sentences and what paragraphs go where, and I'm not just talking about structurally. I'm talking about when you are speaking. There is like an eloquence to your speech, and because of the tone of voice and the energy you exude, what ends up happening as an adult for you. This is for like adults. I'm getting an adult vibe here that people really understand what you're saying. People resonate with what you're saying. There are many people who fall under the poet stereotype, right? That literally uses their words um, to convey peace, to convey love, and so people resonate with it. And I'm getting stories. You have the tendency to use your stories, good, bad, and indifferent, to relate to the audience to which you are speaking, right? And so when you were a child, you did not have that audience. Now you have that audience as an adult. And so what I'm getting from this card, the poet card, this comes later on as far as um, your use of words. Don't get me wrong, I'm also getting some teenage energy from this as well, as far as you using your words, speaking engagements, doing something. I'm also getting a lot of reading too. There are some children out there who really like at 14, 15 years old, found their voice, had the support to find their voice, and therefore they were able to express themselves in some way, shape, or form. I'm also getting like for real writing played a huge part in maybe possibly like in high school or maybe in the oh wow, I'm also getting it like second grade. Writing your gift of writing and creating stories happened in the second grade, but they took on a huge significance in your adulthood, if not your teenage years, your late teenage years. And so what I'm getting is that like you use your words now. If you are practicing spirituality in some way, shape, or form, you're also using your spirituality and you're also using a lot of your esoteric work to convey soul work, convey and to tap into that a lot of people's energy, and earning their trust in every way, shape, or form, and basically using your words to change the world. I'm getting using your words and your talents to change the world. However, what I'm also getting is that you also have a tendency to use your words when you don't get your way. You have the tendency to use your words to be self-destructive or destructive in some way, shape, or form. And it stems from seeing the power of your words as an adult and making them for lost time for not being seen and heard as a child. And so now you're using those words. You see the element of your words as a hypnotic element you have with your words. There's when it comes to your writing or when it comes to your speeches, when it comes to like doing videos such as this, there's like a hypnotic um, power, for lack of better terms, right? A hypnotic component to what you do. And so if you are not careful, because you're very like to be honest with you, what I'm also getting for the poets and for those who are meant to hear this message, you're very influential or will be influential in some way, shape, or form because people trust you and your word because they trust your energy and they trust your power and they've seen you grow and prosper as a person. But there's also like this element of you who just um You can be very destructive with your words. By like telling people or spreading some sort of message that is not of love and light, or spreading some message that is going to be more of a detriment to people in the collective that you are supposed to be serving than not. Okay, especially when it comes to politics, and especially when it comes to any sort of soul work or any sort of healing work in regards to trauma, right? That's why it's so important to study up, if you go, the route of whatever it is that you are looking to study, or have some sort of interest in. It's best to study. It is best to study up as much as you possibly can, because the last thing you want to do as a poet, you sound eloquent, you sound professional, you sound all this other stuff, but what happens is that if you don't have the knowledge or the information necessary, or have any sort of um, way to know for sure whether or not the information you're putting out there is accurate, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to end up hurting somebody, or causing more problems for yourself or someone else in the long run, just simply because you do not have the information available. So what I'm getting is that anyone who is supposed to be, you know, hearing this message, you're being told to study up. You're being told to take your time. You're being told to study. You're being told to be very aware of the power of your words, because words do cast spells. And when those words cast those spells, they can have a lingering effect, because anything that you say stems from your mind in any way, shape, or form. It's in your unconscious mind. Anything you say, words really do cast spells, and they stay affecting. Okay, they stay affecting people on the unconscious level. Okay, they anything you say is going to affect someone on an unconscious level. So basically, what I am telling you, the dear viewer, is to be careful with your words. Okay, let's see. Anything else, Spirit? Yeah, there's a lot of people out here wishing to be right, and there are times when you are not to just you have to let it go and not just argue with somebody, just simply because it's not the way you would want it to be. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, it's blank. Okay, I'm being told to move on. Okay, all right, let's go. So, what, dear High Spirit, what words of wisdom do you have for the collective's inner child? Before, I move on to, if you resonate with this in any way, shape, or form, by all means, let me know in the comments too. Let me know what you have to say in the comment section. You can also like and share this video, right? If you resonate with it, and also be sure to subscribe. Let's see here. I wish you can see these cards too. One of these days. One of these days, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh wow. All these. Okay. We're gonna do all of them. Okay, so what I'm getting here is the words of, as far as the archetype, is to have courage. Okay, and those who fall in have the queen and poet archetype or stereotype, you're being asked to have courage. The reason why some of us who resonate with this message have the tendency to basically use their information the way they do, or to be argumentative the way they do, is because there is a lack of confidence in one's ability, um, to be intelligent. I'm just getting a lack of courage. There are so many people who have been told that their words do not matter, their words don't count, and I'm also getting this lack of vulnerability. It's easier for some of us to argue with people, you know, instead of just listening and being vulnerable and just saying, you know what, you're absolutely correct, or you know what, maybe my way of thinking may not be the best, or to just simply walk away. Have the courage to simply follow your instinct and walk away. If you are not in the mood for whatever reason argue, with somebody, but do it anyway, ask yourself why that is. Okay. Have the courage to understand that you are not stupid. Have the courage to understand that you are not to sit here and like argue with everybody just simply because they don't see the world the way you do. Have the courage to really hear what that person is saying, so that when you are in a better space, you are able to literally like, you know, ruminate on what they're saying and actually think about it critically instead of being in your emotions. You're being asked to have the courage to understand that you don't even have to know everything. It's not up to you to know everything. It's impossible for anybody to know everything. And so you're being asked to put yourself in the situation and put yourself, I guess, put yourself in the situation to really understand like what it is, like when it comes to your information, and how you put out that information, or share that information rather. um why is it so important to be right? Why is it so important to you know to feel as if you are to know everything? Why is it so important where that came from? And again, this is a time for you to really connect with your inner child, and have that therapy session with them, and ask them, what it is that makes you feel as if you are to, you know, argue with people or be right all the time, because it's not out of malicious intent. It really isn't. I'm not getting that it's out of malicious intent. What I'm getting is that this does have everything to do with the fact that when you were a child, you saw, and I'm also getting too, thank you, Spirit. What I'm also getting too is that you saw a lot and witnessed a lot of things that going on in your household, went on in the world, with your schools, among your friends, and you felt like you didn't have the power to say anything because of your status and your position in the family or in the environment or in the system in general, right? So now you feel like you're a truth teller, right? You are someone who is to tell the truth all the time. And so what I'm getting is that sometimes you have to have the courage to recognize that you cannot help everybody. You're not here to help everyone. You're not here to put yourself in a situation um, where just because you witness something, um, that you are to say something without having any protection. There are other ways to put your story out there without letting the world know what you're feeling and what you're doing. That's what personal friends are for, or close friends are for, mentors are for, um, and therapy is for. Not everything is about public knowledge. Not everything is for public knowledge. There are certain things that you are to heal from, okay? And not everything is to be out on, put on blast like that, okay? Um, and so I also got embrace the dark. Embrace the dark. I'm just getting believe in your shadows. Believe in your shadows. Believe in their work. There is a reason why you are being told to look at your shadows and to be aware of how you are displaying those shadows. Not everything is to be for public knowledge. Not everything is supposed to be for public consumption. Not everything is supposed to be about, you know, putting someone's business out there or putting someone else's business out there. And the reason why I'm saying this too, like, I got like a message from Spirit, of course, but what I am getting is that this message is also for me in regards to how I put information out there. What I'm getting from this is that, you know, I was going to put a book out, that was like pretty much exposed a lot of the childhood abuse and childhood sexual abuse I went through, and the aftermath of that abuse as a result of, not being able to get justice, right? And so I was going to expose everyone by naming names, putting people's names out there, putting some information, some really deep, dark information out there. And I was causing myself harm as a result of that. And so and I had a whole conversation with a friend of mine about this, and I was just so justice driven that I was not aware of the 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 pain that I was going to cause myself and possibly other people, who I've encountered. And so basically what I'm getting from this card is that we need, like, there are like the darkness within us is just as important. Embrace your shadows. Also, work towards your shadows, work with your shadows in a whole nother way. Not everything is about, as I said, it's about putting yourself out there, putting yourself out on blast, putting yourself out, and just talking without protecting yourself, and just um, without just protecting yourself and the people, and being aware of people, you know, um, in their feelings, right? And so this is why this is so important, this reading, because there's a lot of folks who are wounded children, have wounded inner children, who are yeah, who are basically like wanting justice, very justice driven, um, wanting to have their story heard, wanting to be seen, and wanting to argue with people who just don't see things their way. And so we're being told that through all these cards that it's it's just time for us to look at our shadows in a whole nother way. Not everything is about disclosure, public disclosure, and not everything is about, it's about the general public. There are other ways to work on your shadows, but telling people your business may not be it. So just be aware of your intentions around it and embrace your shadows. What I'm getting is that embrace your shadows and this card is like flipping out of my hand, y'all. It says embrace your darkness, embrace the shadows. You can still be angry, you can still be hurt, you can still like go in on people, in regards to, I'm not saying like attack them or anything, but basically like tell the truth about people and what they're about and who they're about without hurting yourself, without everything being out in the public and being put on blast like that. Especially if you don't have any sort of tangible evidence. Unfortunately, that's just how the world works. But you are to like embrace that darkness, embrace your anger, but also do the work necessary to realize that it's not about you anyhow. It's not about you anyhow. It really is not. It has everything that whatever happened, it has everything to do with that person, and they would have treated anyone like that anyhow. And this is the time for you, unless you are being called to say something. Please, please, please talk to spirit, but also talk to folks. Talk to your therapist, talk to your spiritual mentors, talk to close friends, you know, and just recognize and realize that your voice is important, but you are also to be safe. Okay, I got a whole bunch of cards here. So also, I'm just getting, be patient with yourself. Straight up, like be patient. Be patient with yourself and be patient with the process. You will be heard in a on a massive scale. You're going to be heard on a massive scale, but you ought to be careful. You are to be aware of your intentions. You ought to be aware of your intentions at this time, because I'm just getting that your intentions may not be clear enough in regards to your story and in regards to like disclosure. I'm just getting all this thing about exposure and disclosure, right? I'm just getting like this whole thing because I know that people are tired of carrying those stories. People who are resonating with this, they're really tired of those stories, those old, age-old stories that you have since childhood about who you are, and the abuse you went through and the trauma you went through and the people who are out here faking and frauding, and there's a sense of justice that y'all have out here. There's this sense of justice, and that comes with exposing the lies and telling the truth. You're like in your mind, like really do have this superhero mentality where when like in regards to fighting crime, where you're just fighting crime, and you're exposing the bad guys, and it's just very like a magical child type of thing as well. There's this idealistic view that a lot of us have in regards to the truth and being exposed to the truth, and we feel that because we are adults, we're so far we're far away enough from it to the point where we feel like we can just talk about this stuff head on and talk about the truth. And the truth of the matter is, we are to be careful, and so you are to be patient. If you're one to carry the story, especially if you're the oldest child, and you have the tendency to carry the story, what I'm getting is that you are to be patient in regards to how you're supposed to be telling that story. Be patient with yourself and be patient with the process. In the meantime, if you are meant to talk about you talk about your story, or talk about what's going on in a grand scale, talk about your trauma and your traumatic past and the people involved with it on a global scale. You are to be patient with the process, and um, in the meantime, talk to a professional. Talk to a professional, and also like help like definitely talk to your inner child. Talk to them and reparent them. Reparenting is like you paying attention to what they are saying, paying attention to how they're saying it. I'm just getting to be a patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself and be patient with the journey. Everything will come in due time, but in the meantime, please connect with your inner child, and please let them know and tell them that you are here for them. And this is a time for you to like find other ways to tell your story that's empowering to you. Yes, be patient with the process. Be patient with the process. In fact, this is a time for you to use your words, maybe to blog, or maybe to do videos, or maybe to do or maybe to write letters to your inner child. Like, you are to use your words in a way that is empowering to you until you're ready to tell that big story, right? Um, until then, be patient with the process. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who just want to get the story out and get those stories out in a big way. And until there's some clarity in regards to your intentions, there's no way that you're going to do this and be safe. Okay, I'm just getting be careful and also see the truth. When we're in the healing process, okay, so basically, what does this mean, spirit? I mean, things will be exposed. Things will be exposed naturally. People will see the truth for what it is. People will see the truth for what it is. There will be justice. Your story will be heard. You will be heard. Those who are in the queen and the poet will be heard. And there's going to be like an empowering element. And like this yeah, there's going to be an empowering element to your work because um you've done the healing work, is what I'm getting. Like, you've done the healing work. A lot of people who fall into this category or resonate with this message, you're doing the work necessary, because now, and your words are going to resonate with a lot of people because your intentions are clear and your intentions are pure, and they're not about exposing or hurting anyone. Your words are not going to be used to cause harm to yourself or anybody else. People are going to hear the story regardless of what it looks like, regardless of how you put it down on paper, how you put it on a blog, how you put it on video. It doesn't matter. The names are going. I'm just getting like names are going to be changed. Whatever, whatever you write down, names are going to be changed. And it doesn't matter. Like the names don't matter. It's the story in how you felt. That's what people are going to resonate with, and that is what people are going to take with them. I'm just getting like you're not the. People are going to see the truth regardless. People are going to see the truth regardless because your intentions are pure. There's no need for exposure or this need for fighting injustice. It's about resonating with your audience. It's about using your story as a way to heal or influence healing, but it's definitely not about exposing anybody, using your words, to inflict harm or pain. I'm also getting to you like you'll be going back to the be patient. Like I'm just getting an intention. What I'm also getting to is that um you can be working on other projects in the meantime. Wherever this is, you're going to be working with other projects in the meantime. Your words will not be in vain in any way, shape, or form. It's just that you are using them in a whole different way in the meantime. Okay? And I'm also getting make the sacrifice. You have to sacrifice all that you know. You have to sacrifice you have to sacrifice the old stories. You have to sacrifice the old stories. You have to sacrifice this needs to be correct. You have to sacrifice a lot of things that have held you back. You have to sacrifice anything and everything that has held you back thus far. If anything, whatever that looks like, it doesn't have to be anything major. It doesn't. It's not like a long or like some overhaul, but whatever is keeping you from, I guess anything that's standing in your way, you are to remove it. And I'm definitely getting like not just like old habits, but old ways of thinking. I'm also getting like a restructuring of businesses, a restructuring of business practices. But what I am getting is that those who are in this archetype, what I'm getting is that the story that you have been telling yourself, these old paradigms, that you've been working with, these old, these, like pretty much anything, even like the victim mentality I'm getting. Whatever victim mentality you have, you are to discard that right away. Because what's happening is that you're using your words to hex yourself. You're using your words to keep you stuck. And those are not just your words, but words you have or stories you have stories. Excuse me. You adopted over time. Stories about your inabilities, stories about your incapabilities, stories about your intelligence that weren't true, stories of not being good enough, not being smart enough, not being this and the third that is to go. Because basically you are using those stories or have been using those stories to keep yourself at a certain level that you're no longer comfortable with. These archetypes, the queen and the poet, your inner child is basically giving you this message of their power. They want to exude their power and they're waiting on you to show them how to do that. one way to exude your power is to realize that a lot of what has been told to you has literally been passed down from one generation to the next. They never belonged to you. They were never for you. And it stems from a lot of white supremacist ideologies around what we're supposed to be looking like, being like, sounding like, like, and it's passed down from one thing to one generation to the next. And you are to realize that a lot of what has been said or done to you um, over the years, and I'm just getting a lot of bullying over the years, what it looks like, is all in your mind at this point. It's all in your mind now. So this is a time for you to get out of your own way in regards to what you think people are doing, what you think people are saying, and to no longer use your words to hex yourself on an unconscious level. Okay, so that's what that make the sacrifice card is saying, right? I'm just getting it. Lastly, challenge your perceptions. Challenge your perceptions. Thank you, Spirit. Like, challenge your perceptions of the world and what it looks like. Learn more information or learn new information and discard the information that does not work for you. That has never been correct or accurate. By doing this, you're just demonstrating maturity for one, and adaptability, but also like you're demonstrating that you're willing to change. You're demonstrating to your inner child that not everything that we believe is right or correct. That you are not to be correct all the time. That everything that we have learned can be unlearned. I'm also getting like literally like, and I'm doing this, I'm saying this, and stop thinking that everybody is against you. Not everything is about you. Not everything is about you and what you think about yourself. Not everything is for you, and that's okay. You have to change your perception of the world and change your perception of how you view the world and how you speak to yourself and other people when you are incorrect. When you are incorrect, especially when you're incorrect. You're meant to be a change agent with your words, and the most prolific people know when they are wrong, and they have no problem admitting that either. And they know when a conversation or like a conversation or a discussion really has nothing to do with them or not worth fighting or debating, and they know when to walk away. Your perception changes when you realize that, one, you do not have to be right all the time. We're not meant to be right all the time. And secondly, not everything is for us in regards to our opinion, and we don't have to have an opinion for everything. Basically, sometimes we don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just getting fix your face. Spirit wants you to fix your face, meaning that we cannot be upset or angry when people don't want to hear us out all the time. We can't take everything personal, because the moment we take everything personal is the moment we allow other people to determine, what type of person we are. We're giving them a lot of power, and a lot of power that they don't deserve, and it's just unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. Not everything is about us, and we don't belong in this fight. Whatever fight it is, and you're getting that gut instinct to leave it alone, chances are that's your cue to leave it alone. I'm just getting throughout this entire reading that not everything is for us. Not everything is for us. That's the child in us not like having that fear of not being heard. And that's where that comes from. Our inner child's fear of not being heard and not being seen and not having our story believed. I really do believe. I'm getting that. I'm not just believing it. I'm getting that. This is about the inner child not being believed. Sometimes you just are to be silent. You are to move in silence. Not everything is about you and this desire to be this for the story to be disclosed. At least not right away until you realize your intentions of speaking about something or on something that may one hurt someone or put you in harm's way or something that really doesn't involve you. Like I get that there's a lot of people who are hurting, and hurt people, they want justice and they want to be heard and they want to be seen. But sometimes the world does not work that way. So, here is a word of encouragement for the collective. Yes, what words of encouragement do you have for the collective? The inner child, the collective's inner child. And what I got again, the circle, but it's right side up. In order for us, we are very much interdependent. We are very much interdependent, right? And because we are interdependent, nothing we do is in isolation. Regardless of what it looks like, we can stay by ourselves, and someone is affected because we are not there, right? So we are to be careful with what we are saying. When we're telling our story out there, we're to be careful about what we're saying, about the words that we are using. We have to be careful with our intentions. The queen and the poet, they're to be aware of their intentions, because when we are not aware of our intentions, and we have intentions that are not in love and light or selfish in any way, shape, or form, we can end up hurting somebody who's connected to our story. We are indirectly hurting them. We can directly or indirectly hurt somebody with our story. Let me say that one more time. We can directly or indirectly hurt ourselves or someone else with our story, because everything is not in isolation. Nothing that we do is in isolation. Someone or a group of people are connected to our story. They are connected to our life. They are connected to our words. They hear what we're saying. You look at what you're saying. That's why you have to be careful about what you say on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever you use. You have to be careful about what you're saying, because that's out there forever. That's out there forever, and somebody's watching it, and someone's being affected by your words. You understand? Directly or indirectly, someone is affected by what you're saying. Words are extremely powerful, and I'm getting throughout this entire reading that words and intention are extremely powerful. There's no such thing as a word in isolation. You know what I mean? So we are to be careful what we're saying. What I'm getting from this card as well is that you have the power to bring people together with your words. You have the power to have a powerful, positive influence with your words and with your actions. You are here for a reason. You are here on this earth to serve a purpose. You are not just here, to just cause havoc, raise havoc, and be gay and do crimes. That's not what we're here for the most part, right? But what I am saying is that what I am getting from that card is that we are very much interdependent, and everything that we say will affect someone in a way that is very life changing. Okay, so we are, if you're as the poet and the queen, right? The one who is elegant with their words, the one who is powerful with their words, you're being told by your inner child to use those words to bring peace into this world, bring peace and hope and prosperity and clarity into people's worlds. Your words are just not here to argue and debate over who's right or wrong. In fact, you're being told to just be aware of the fights that you are choosing. You're to pick and choose your battles very wisely, because your words are now affecting. You've been in this. I'm getting that you have been in this world long enough to realize that your words are affecting people. And so, what you are here to do is to use your words to bring clarity to people where there wasn't none. Your story is to help people, not to hurt people. You are here to heal people, not to hurt them, especially with your words, because words do cast spells. This is about interdependence and using your influence, great or small, to bring an impact in someone's world, to be an imprint, a positive imprint on somebody's life, on somebody's spirit. Because people are not going to understand what you're saying per se, but they're definitely going to understand how you made them feel. If your words cast a spell that is influential, I'm just getting that, good, better, and different is going to stay with them. And that's going to stay with you. So you are to be aware of what you're saying and what you're doing with your words in order to bring order to this world. So that's all I have for the inner child archetype reading. If you resonate with that reading in any way, shape, or form, by all means, let me know in the comments. You can also subscribe to the channel, share the channel. The more people know about me, the better. The more people know about the Inner Child Collective channel, the better. I also have the podcast. So if you're interested in learning about the inner child, and everything that has anything to do with the inner child, by all means, you can go to Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you can listen to your favorite podcasts. Also, be sure to go to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, to follow me. Basically, to follow me and see what I'm doing. I'm always posting on there. I also read best time stories on here, so there's a lot of things going on. Also, if you would like to have a more in-depth reading, um, inner child archetype reading, by all means, go to the description box where there's a link where all my services, it'll lead you to all of my services. If you work with Nikila Asha or have met me through Nikila Asha of Ashworth Scout Life Sculpting, there's also the link to pretty much book an appointment through that channel as well. So I think that's it. That is it, I think. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, peace.